community looks to their county executive to provide some sort of a vision, not his or her vision, but to develop a community vision based on collaboration with all the different elements that comprise our wider community, to bring people to the table so that we can sit and talk about what is Wicomico County to us. You know, a lot of us that were born and raised here remember it in its glory days, and I don't say that in the sense that there are no more glory days, but when I was a kid, Wicomico County was obviously the place to be. We struggled through this recession. It's been tough all across our country, and we've been no exception to that. But what we've done through this recession is not just to sit back and complain about how bad things are and wring our hands. We've actually taken advantage of the lull in the activity to kind of bring back the community to have a discussion about who we are, what we can be, what we want to be. And in doing that, we've come to a number of conclusions. We understand that we cannot tax our way into prosperity out of recession. We can't continue to slash governmental services and still provide the quality of life that makes us competitive as a place to come and do business and have a home, raise a family. And so when we decide that we're going to move forward, then we have to go a different way, and that means bringing more people in, trying to leverage the assets that we have in common with other areas. We're trying, and the thing you've heard me say so many times is we're trying to get people to come out of their silos. You know, when we have 9 governments in Wicomico County, a county government and 8 municipalities, there's room for collaboration there. There's room for leveraging of assets to be more efficient, to be more cost effective, and to be more progressive in the services we provide. When we're one county of several on the lower Delmarva Peninsula, each with its own attractions, its own challenges, we can reach out to each other. We don't have to be stopped by county lines. We can work with Worcester County. We can work with Ocean City, as we did with the partnership dealing with primarily the girls softball tournaments, but where we can reach out and take advantage of the activity going on down in Wallace, Virginia, where we can talk about the assets of the Chesapeake Bay and how they can be preserved from our end of things and in partnership with others across the state. You know, there's always the talk about the Chesapeake Bay cleanup and are we being overregulated, overburdened? Well, in many cases we are, but that doesn't mean we still can't do our part. And so as we have these discussions about what kind of community we want to be, it came to us that part of our responsibility as the county executive in our office was to help shape a dialogue in our community to develop a vision. We've done these things before in our county. The one that stands out in my mind mostly is the quarter-century report that came to be known affectionately as the Fincher report after the late Herb Fincher, who was just a tremendous pillar of our community and did a lot to encourage community participation in the things that are important to us. But so many times those efforts go on the shelf and they're referred to almost immediately in the past tense because there's no implementation to follow that. Recently, we've had some very strong activity under the leadership of Warwick Community College through the Tri-County Council to start a visioning conversation in Wicomico County. And we wanted to pick that up, mold it a little bit, and put it into a focus that we could really take forward as a roadmap for our future. And so we invited a list of people, decision makers, people with authority to decide what they can invest, where we ought to go, where our opportunities are, where our challenges are, and bring them around the table in this grand collaboration of creating a vision. And we became called Vision Action Committee. And the term action is significant here because we didn't want to just develop a report that would go on a shelf somewhere and be referred to as, oh yeah, I remember that. It's our intention and it's our achievement to identify short, medium, and long-term goals that will affect our growing as a community for many years to come. We broke down into a number of areas, including energy. This goes back to the conversation among churches that I talked about. Develop a greater relationship, a stronger relationship with the city of Salisbury and Wicomico County. I have to tell you, with the election of Jake Day to the Salisbury City Council, the relationship made a 180-degree turn. I think everyone in the community has seen such a tremendous upsweep of enthusiasm, of hope, of confidence of how we can work together in collaboration. So that was one of our efforts. We, of course, had an economic development committee. We had a tremendous focus on education. We talked about transportation. We talked about watershed improvement, about the environment, and how we can be responsible stewards of the environment. We talked about agriculture. Agriculture is our bread and butter. We are known as the #1 agriculture producing state in the state of Maryland. Most of us, I think, want to stay that way, want to keep us in that regard. And so as we develop a strategy to deal with thrown at us from outside sources, or as we develop opportunities to support our local agriculture community, it's important to have that conversation and have somebody charged with keeping that in focus so that we can move in those directions. And finally, we had a committee on healthy communities, talking about health. We're learning more and more these days that so much of our crime, so much of the people incarcerated at the detention center, so many of the people seeking services have severe mental health issues. And we haven't traditionally had the resources to deal with this. I doubt there's very many families anywhere that haven't dealt with mental health concerns in one form or another over the years. And so these are all significant components of our community that we wanted to address and have somebody with knowledge, somebody with experience, and somebody with authority to address. And so the Vision Action Committee came together, our team came together. We were so grateful to have Beacon available at Purdue School at Salisbury University. And we turned to Memwo Derricker, ably assisted by Jenny Pastasak. And we really appreciate all their hard work because they kind of put the mechanics, the structure of all of this together so that we could get the right people around the table. I want to just go through some of the names of folks that have participated in this process, and these are in no particular order, but I think you'll recognize most of the names. Bill Satterfield, James McNaughton, Ernie Colburn, Brad Gillis, Sandy Fitzgerald-Angelo, Mary Ashanti, Eddie Boyd, Kathy Townsend, Matt Holloway, Ray Boyd, Peggy Naletha, Chris Hall, Kim Dumpson, Barry Johansson, Karen Lukacs, O.P. Penn, Mike Delano, Ed Urban, Jim Ireton, Jake Day, Paula Thomas Shipley, Lori Brewster, Keith Hall, Robbie Sheehan, Lee Beecham, Brad Bellachico, David Ryan, and of course Memo and Jenny. These are talented people. These are pillars of our community. And today we're going to get a sample of the work that they've been bringing about over the last, how many months? 15, 16 months? And so with that, I would like to turn it over to